Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. You're listening to Woodward Sports, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I am back from break. Adam, you are making a lot of noise over there. All right. I am wearing all black today because I am in mourning. Brian Kelly is leaving Notre Dame, and my Ohio State Buckeyes lost. We will get into all of that and more today, but it has been a bad week to be Kennedy and a football fan. But we are going to get into some Ohio State talk first. Our boy in the khakis and in the transition lenses was throwing shade at my boy Ryan Day, saying some people are born on third base thinking that they hit a triple, clearly shading the fact that Ryan Day took over Urban Meyer's Ohio State. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this quote.
Well, Ryan Day, we all know how he got his start. Obviously, taking over for Urban Meyer for that short period of time while he stepped away, went 3-0, and you kind of knew as soon as he stepped away completely from Ohio State, Ryan Day was getting that spot. He's got NFL experience. We know this. Quarterback coach for 2 different teams. Worked under Chip Kelly, I believe, with the 49ers in 2016, and was with the Eagles the year prior, 2015, but I love it. I love what Jim Harbaugh has to say. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has been to a Super Bowl as a head coach as well. Like, the guy has NFL experience. He comes to college, and now you have to go up against a program like Ohio State that dominates recruiting. Not only that, but they have the best players, and you see it year in and year out. This year, look at the wide receivers they have. Look at the quarterback. Defensively, this year led to their downfall ultimately and not being able to stop the run, but he's absolutely right. I mean, Ryan Day inherited something special. It's kind of like, I like to compare it to, you knowing a friend, and that friend owns a business in the same field as you, and that friend may have inherited that business from their father, and they're way more successful than you, even though you believe truly that you are a better businessman. He's in a better situation, and he is. Ohio State is a better situation, and that win, that's why it means so much to not only Michigan, but to the people living in Michigan. The fact that Jim Harbaugh on Saturday not only defeated Ohio State, but beat the brakes off them. And you know what I love is, hey, if you come out with a win, you're free to say whatever you want, and the third baseline by Jim was a mic dropper. So he honestly, I mean, Harbaugh is 1-5 against the Buckeyes. I think he's 1-1 against Ryan Day. So you could talk about Ohio State versus Michigan. Jim Harbaugh versus Ryan Day. I mean, last year obviously they didn't play because of the COVID year, but they're only 1-1. So it's not ruled out. We'll see how Michigan progresses over the next couple of years, but it's going to be interesting to see what the total record Harbaugh versus Day is in the next couple of years. So Harbaugh, he deserves, man. I mean, he earned it. So he earns the right to talk his trash. So I don't have a problem with it. What about you, Adam?
Look, I'm all for rivalry talk, but I really want to put the center of attention on Kennedy right now, because not only did this loser team that is up in Columbus lose on Saturday, they got their asses kicked. And it was so refreshing. I mean, college football needed this, and Michigan needed this. And I mean, in a football year where the Detroit Lions are 0-10-1, and then vice versa, Michigan State go 10-2, and they make a run. And then Michigan, first win in 10 years over Ohio State, and they go 11-1, and now they're playing in the Big Ten title game on Saturday. I mean, Kennedy.
What?
I'm
not okay
so
today.
happy
We have to be nice to
the
me.
last 72 hours have been what they have been for you and every Ohio State and Notre Dame fan. You losers. Welcome to reality. Welcome to reality moving forward, to every Buckeye and every, Fighting Irish, whatever you call those losers up in South Bend. But regardless, I'm going to stick with Jim Harbaugh's shade that he threw at Ryan Day. I mean, it was pretty clear that he threw it at Ryan Day. I mean, look, Lincoln Riley took over an outstanding program in Oklahoma in the Big 12 that was struggling. So, I mean, he came in and delivered right away. You've seen it with Ryan Day. And, I mean, that's just what happens at these type of programs. I mean, they're consistently good for the longest time. And then let's, backtrack a little bit. Urban Meyer stepped in. They were 6-6 the year prior. Fickle was a complete disaster in Columbus. And then Urban shows up, and they go 12-0, but they don't play in a championship game or any bowl game because of I believe they had suspensions and a ton of rule violations.
Right.
So then the following year, what did they follow it up with? They followed up, I believe, with 13-1 in the national title. I mean, Urban Meyer's set the trend that is Ohio State right now, and it's on Ryan Day to deliver in the big game. And so far, he's been to the college football playoff multiple times. He's lost in every account of it. He hasn't delivered a national championship, and that's the expectation in Columbus. It's not a bad thing. I like high expectations for any program, and moving forward for Michigan, you have to start winning like this on a more consistent basis. It can't be every 7-10 years that you beat Ohio State. It can't be every 4 or 5 years that you beat Michigan State. It's just unacceptable. It really is. So I'm curious to see how it moves going forward. I think the rivalry it's only starting. I think this is only going to motivate Ryan Day and the Buckeyes even more. But my goodness, it feels good to be on not the receiving end, but the returning end.
Yeah.
Of some trash talk for once.
Especially when Ryan Day says he wants to put 100 on you. You know, it definitely makes you feel good. And we know all the trash talk that, you know, Jim Harbaugh and Ryan Day, even in past, have got into. But gotta love the third baseline. I mean, that was a very nonchalant, very, he threw some shade there. And you got to appreciate it because he's in the driver's seat right now. So we'll wait till next year.
Kennedy, I want your thoughts on the ass whooping you guys got Saturday. I know you were at the game, so.
I was at the game.
How great would it feel to know you represented a losing team on Saturday?
I actually wasn't wearing any Ohio State stuff, so no one knew.
That's weak.
But, well, I mean, you couldn't see it. I was so cold that, like, the jersey, nothing. It was freezing. It was frigid. My lips are all cracked and bleeding still from being out there.
That's a you problem. I don't know. My feet were numb. That was about it.
My feet were very numb. Yeah, it was a very uncomfortable game to be at for multiple reasons. But I knew pretty much right away. Michigan scored the first touchdown, and I was like, yep, we are screwed. This is happening. You could just tell how the guys came out. I just knew immediately this was not going to go well.
You were at the game, too. So remember when there was that little skirmish that broke out, I want to say in the second quarter or maybe even the third? Did you see number 26 from the Buckeyes swing at a referee, or is that just me?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, so like our group where we were sitting, it looked like 26 swung at the ref and hit him, and the ref fell down.
Are you serious?
Nothing happened. Yeah, I swear. And,
how has that not been clipped and put?
I've tried finding an article on this. I've tried finding like video, nothing.
I did not see that. That's crazy. Well, you were closer than I was, so you had better seats than me. So
I don't know. I feel like at the big house, the further you are, the better the seats are.
I was actually very surprised because I like when you get to I was in section 19 and then I had to go up, and I was like, I can see clear as day up here, and I have horrible eyes. So, because when I sit up at Ford Field, I can't see a thing. Fish knows. I was complaining when we sat up there, but I was fine at the big house.
Confirm.
Well, speaking of not seeing a thing, I want to shift to the Notre Dame news and Brian Kelly leaving.
I will actually probably start crying, so warning.
I think it's a great move for him. I mean, Notre Dame, they're
definitely
limited in recruiting. He's done a great job there. You know, Brian Kelly, I think, is underappreciated, not in South Bend, but just maybe by national media because, I mean, to win the amount of games he's won, yes, the scheduling wasn't the best, but to win the amount of games, to be the all-time record win holder as a head coach at the school, to make multiple college football playoffs. I mean, that is impressive. And you know what? He got the job down in LSU in Baton Rouge. I'm like extremely curious how that even works out. You know, does his personality fit down south? Is he going to be able to recruit against Georgia, Alabama, now Texas, Oklahoma? So I'm really happy for him. I think this was a home run move. If you're LSU, you needed this kind of move. Lincoln Riley going to USC. Now you have Oklahoma and Texas coming, so there's more competition for recruiting. I like the Brian Kelly move, and I think this is probably his first powerhouse job in a while.
I want to bring this up because as soon as I saw the Brian Kelly news, obviously great move for him personally. I just couldn't help. I mean, we talk about styling and everything on the show. This man is also the one who said my whole team needs to be executed. I remember that.
Yeah, I totally agreed with him that day. I think that's good coaching.
It is. It was funny when I read that.
When you're responsible for a group of kids and they are irresponsible and they underperform, I don't see a problem with threatening execution.
I was like, this guy's a legend immediately. Like, honestly, and you know what? It's from a personal standpoint, I get it. Like, if I'm a head coach or you're a head coach, Adam, like you look at it like, do I want to be the best coach in Notre Dame's school history, or do I want to go win a national championship? You know, on a
He's already
big
one of
picture
the
scale.
best in Notre Dame's excuse me. He's already one of the best in Notre Dame history. I don't think that's even a question.
No, that's what I'm saying. Does he want to be the best, or does he want to be a national championship? You know what I mean? Win a national championship.
I mean, he's been in the position multiple times, to be fair to him. But yeah, no, I mean, the resources available in Baton Rouge are infinite to those in South Bend. You know, Notre Dame, I mean, they have their own network with a TV
But they're not
deal
winning
with
a
Peacock.
damn national
They're
championship.
loaded. But that's a Midwest school that is extremely limited on its ceiling, and I think LSU, we've seen what they do. You know, they bring in new coaches, and every 4, 5, 6 years they win a national title. I think that's kind of the recruitment cycle for LSU, and we'll see if Brian Kelly can continue to deliver that. We've seen Nick Saban, Les Miles, and then Ed Orgeron. Is Brian Kelly going to deliver a national title? I don't know, but I know he has a better chance doing it at LSU than he does in Notre Dame, even though the scheduling is much easier.
And what I also do know is even if he does deliver a national title, he may be on the hot seat still. So that's LSU, pressure cooker, but it's a great opportunity.
Ed Orgeron inherited the greatest team we've ever seen, maybe outside of 2001 Miami.
Yeah.
At LSU with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson. It's not even fair, the talent that LSU team had. Having said that, outside of that 1 year, he hasn't shown that he's like the significant, long-term building coach who can recruit at a high level, recruit against Georgia, recruit against Alabama. I'm not big on the Ed Orgeron train. I think he was fortunate. He won a national title. I think that was really big, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's, one of the most sought-after coaches.
Right. I remember when Easy brought up him to, what did he say? He suggested him to, like, Michigan or something like that. I was like, are you crazy? I thought he was joking, though, but it was still funny to bring that up.
I hope he was joking.
No, he was. Unless he wasn't sober. Either one of the two. He was joking or he wasn't sober. But, no, Ed Orgeron, that guy is comedian. But Brian Kelly, though, great decision for him. I think we can all agree there. I mean, from a personal standpoint.
And are you happy for your buddy?
No. Well, this is the thing. I didn't even like Brian Kelly like that, but Brian Kelly to me has become comfortable, right? He's been there so long that when I saw the news, I was like, this has to be fake. Like, there's no way. But then here we are.
To be fair to him, you guys stopped scheduling teams like Michigan and, those night games. You stopped that. You stopped Michigan State. You got Ohio State next year, but you guys are definitely losing 5, 6 games next year. It's going to be hilarious to watch. I really can't wait. I am all on board. The Notre Dame turns into one of the worst programs in the country. Train on top of Cincinnati. I just think Cincinnati and Notre Dame are the most disgusting programs in college football. I hate that they're even somewhat decent.
And the ironic part of that, Adam, is Luke Fickell. Look in the Notre Dame conversation, and I know Cincinnati beat Notre Dame this year, and now they're talking about Notre Dame already looking at Luke Fickell. I mean, I know you probably read about it online. Realistic shot of that actually happening. What do you think? I think it's possible, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Luke Fickell's looking for a big job. I'm going to be honest. I don't see Luke Fickell as a big-time program-changing coach. I don't. I think he's good at these mid-tier schools, A school like, and Notre Dame is prestigious in its own right. I don't want to downplay Notre Dame, but even Cincinnati to an extent. I mean, these aren't expectations are a national title or we're going to run you out of town. I mean, Lincoln Riley is now expected to win the Pac-12 every single year.
Right.
Michigan and Harbaugh are expected to compete with Ohio State and have a chance to go to the Big Ten title game every single year. At Notre Dame, it's, all right, win 10, 11 games, and if you can do that, we have a chance at the college football playoff. Everybody else is having it down here. And we only got to schedule maybe 1, 2 good teams at the most. And I'm not a fan of that. And then you look at Luke Fickell at Cincinnati. He's done a good job, recruited really well, but we saw how it worked out in Columbus. So I'm going to let Kennedy answer that in regards to Fickell, because she saw a year of him, and it wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
And when Urban Meyer takes over and takes that very same team and goes 12-0, it's kind of damning on you.
True. Speaking of Urban Meyer, I think he might end up at Notre Dame, genuinely, because he has said in the past that Notre Dame is a dream job for him. So I'm like, come on, baby, don't be shy. But I think a lot of Notre Dame fans are actually wanting Marcus Freeman to step up as head coach, so I wouldn't be too mad about that. I don't really expect Fickell to come, but I mean, I didn't see this coming either, so I could be extremely wrong.
You guys should hire Dan Campbell.
No. Shut up.
I did hear. I did see those. I did see those situations. I don't know why. I was reading some articles and it was like Dan Campbell being mentioned at a collegiate level, and I was like, wow, this he's already out of town. I guess like if people are already talking about him in different college jobs. I'm like, well, it was nice knowing you, Dan. Thank you.
No, it's a no from me, dog. All right, we'll go to break on this point. I'm just getting depressed. I hated this whole conversation. So, Jeff, tell me about people I do like over at Northwestern Tech.
Yeah, Northwestern Tech, great opportunity for you or anybody you know that is looking to start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry, and you can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. Happy Tuesday. Lots of things going down last night, but we want to go around the NFL and talk about some things that happened over the weekend. I want to start with the Packers-Rams. Obviously, Packers taking the dub there. Stafford not looking too hot. Jeff, give me all your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, obviously the final score much closer than it really was. I mean, 36-28 was not, if you're watching this game in person or on TV, the Packers absolutely dominated the Rams. And, I mean, listen, we're going to go through the power rankings. The Packers, to me, are still, if not the best, one of the best teams in the NFL. But it doesn't take away the fact that Matthew Stafford, over the last couple games, he's been in a bad stretch. 3 straight pick sixes, I believe. And if you look at the statistics between Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford over the last 3-4 games, I think Jared Goff's 0-3-1, and I believe Matthew Stafford's 0-4, or it's 0-2-1, whatever the case may be. He's been having. Bottom line is he's having a worse last 4 games than Jared Goff, which that's not good. And the Rams obviously have very, very, big expectations. They want to go to the Super Bowl. They picked up Von Miller. They got Odell. Obviously, you lose Robert Woods, but Odell had he got his on Sunday. He got 5 for 81, but that doesn't change the fact that the Rams. I'm worried about him a little bit, and the fact of it is, I don't know if Odell will solve the Robert Woods issue. I don't. I mean, I like Odell, but he's more of a luxury piece. He's not a number 2 wide receiver. And once you get into the playoffs, you're already missing Cam Akers. Right now, it looks like this Rams team can't run the ball. Their offensive line is in shambles, and they really are running on the shoulders of Darrell Henderson. And I am worried about that. Matthew Stafford, for this man to truly have success, and we talked about it when he went to the Rams, you're going to win games by the play action, and like Sean McVay does best, and they have. But it's hard when you don't get anything on the ground. Matthew Stafford's attempting 40 passes. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. So the Rams have not looked good lately. We'll see how they end up, farther down in the season, but they haven't beaten a good team besides the Bucs. So I'm worried a little bit. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried in the sense there's so much football left to play. Sean McVay has so much time to get this whole Stafford ordeal put together. You look at Stafford's play over the last 3 games, 3 straight pick sixes, yes, but the Rams have just looked really bad, and it's not a pass for Matthew Stafford. He's looked just as bad, if not worse, than the entire team. And it starts with him when you're the quarterback. So you can't play this kind of football and expect to win. You can't allow the defense to put up more points than the offense in a 2-week stretch. It just doesn't add up for me. Stafford's got to play better. Sean McVay needs to go back what made him so great all those years ago, and that's really run-heavy offense, play action, deception plays. I mean, that is the root of Sean McVay's success in the NFL, and either A, he's gotten figured out, or B, the Robert Woods injury is extremely inhibiting this offense, and that's what it looks like so far. They have time. Odell will get comfortable. We saw him make a big play against Green Bay, but look, if you're going to press the panic button right now as a Los Angeles fan, I don't think it's the time. There's so much football left to play. Yes, the schedule is going to be a little difficult, but you're going to figure out if your team is a legitimate contender or not. You play Arizona, you play Seattle, play San Francisco to end the year. There's still a ton of games left. And if you can somehow win these kind of games and get confidence going into the playoffs, I think they'll be just fine. Having said that, it doesn't look good, and it's kind of impossible to defend Matthew Stafford right now. He's playing below average. He really is. He's not playing good at all. You guys want to point out the stats? I'm not even interested in the stats, to be honest. It's the turnovers, I think, is the most important thing, whether he throws for 100 yards or 400. You can't turn the ball over in the NFL. And when you turn the ball over and your defense isn't getting takeaways, it's just a recipe for disaster.
All right, boys, let's move on to the next game. Bucks-Colts. Bucks win 38-31. Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, second half, 24 points in the second half for the Bucks. I mean, that comeback, that's a traditional Tom Brady, the GOAT comeback on the Colts, who were up big, and I turned on the TV, saw Carson Wentz drop a dime in the bucket, I believe to Ashton Dolan, or it was, I think it was Ashton Dolan, and I was watching on live TV, and I'm thinking, wow, the Colts, and they're still a great team. I mean, this loss isn't going to really take a whole lot from them. They're 6-6, but they're a better team than the record shows. I think, like you were saying earlier, Adam, mentioning about Matthew Stafford, the turnovers is going to hurt this team. I don't know why they shied so quickly away from the run against the Bucs. I mean, your offense is Jonathan Taylor or bust. That's how it should be. Get him as many touches as possible. This guy's clearly the best running back right now in the NFL, and they kind of failed to do that. They got him going late, and he was getting. They had one drive late in the game where they committed fully to Jonathan Taylor. They got a touchdown, and I think it was a couple of plays with him on the ground. So if they were to do that a little bit earlier, I think they would have found more success. But got to give credit to Tom Brady, man, and the Buccaneers. I mean, defensively, they gave up 31, but they shut them down in the second half and only gave up 7 points. So credit to the Bucs. I think they'll turn things around still. I mean, they had a rough couple games, obviously against the Saints, but Tom Brady, man, they're still a Super Bowl champion, so I'm not worried about it. It was a really impressive win. Big impressive win over a good team.
When you have Tom Brady, I have to take you seriously. I'm not going to doubt them. It's the best quarterback we've ever witnessed in the NFL history. Having said that, it was a great game. Colts look really good. They're 6-6. They started off 2-5. Yeah. They're now 6-6. I love what they've done. Frank Reich, hell of a job. Carson Wentz not turning the ball over as much. They look a lot. They look a lot better. And if the Colts can just stick to running the football like they got away from in the second half against Tampa Bay, they're going to be just fine, and they're going to win a lot of football games. Having said that, losing to the Bucs, I'm not going to kill you for it. It's the best, one of the best teams in the NFL. So move on, pack up, and Colts need to win probably 4 of their next 5 games to try and make the playoffs.
Definitely. Well, we can just jump right across the board here to the NFL. I mean, we got
Xfinity alive.
Probably right after this game, we're about
to
go.
Headphone issues. They're too big for my ears, so they keep falling out. So I don't know what you're saying. Please hold. But next, I have the Panthers-Dolphins. Dolphins blow them out 33-10 for their 4th straight win. Jeff, your thoughts?
My God, that game. You know what? I hope that shut a lot of people up. All right, the whole Lions fan base, and I was not a part of this, that wanted Cam Newton in Detroit. And listen, Cam Newton, I loved what he did 10 years ago, but Cam Newton is not that Cam Newton. And you saw it offensively. I mean, talk about Joe Brady over the last couple games. He's been struggling calling plays. But again, I mean, Cam Newton, 5 for 21 and 2 interceptions. That was probably the worst game I've witnessed in Cam Newton ever since probably he went to the Patriots. I mean, this is awful. And obviously McCaffrey out for the season. The guy can't get through 5 games in a season. And the Panthers they're falling apart this season. They're really going to have to find a quarterback. Definitely. That's I mean, defensively, they gave up 33, but they're solid defensively. I mean, it's hard when you're playing defense and you know your offense can't score points. I mean, it's kind of the Lions effect, but the Lions have been doing a great job at it. The Panthers defense is the real deal. And if you have a quarterback in there, you have Chuba Hubbard, Christian McCaffrey, big weapon for you, but I mean, you got depth behind them. I think this team is a quarterback away from really figuring it out, but Cam Newton does not solve your issues. So, credit to the Dolphins, though. Like we were talking about yesterday, Adam, the Dolphins started out very, very bad. Now they're 5-7, tied with the Carolina Panthers, who started out 3-0. So it was a good win by the Dolphins. Great win.
Yeah, I love that Miami Dolphins fans, to an extent, were so patient with Brian Flores after last season. Obviously, a 10-win season, barely missed out on the playoffs. Start the season 1-7, and now they're 5-7, and you see coaching and quarterback play improving, and that's so important. And they needed this Tua project to work, and that's why they took Jalen Waddle, who had a hell of a game. You took Jalen Waddle over a Penei Sewell in the draft for this exact reason. You need to figure out if Tua can be a quarterback in the NFL, and they're doing that. Right now, he looks pretty good. He's, I believe, over 80% completion percentage over his last 3 games. Tua looks really good right now. We'll see how the Dolphins continue to improve throughout the rest of the season, but to your Cam Newton point, my goodness, you guys didn't think there was a worse quarterback out there than Jared Goff. Congratulations. That is one right there. He is so bad, and I love the Cam Newton defenders. It's so fun to watch. But having said that, regarding the Panthers, 5-11 last year, year 1 under Matt Rule. This year, probably a 7-10, maybe 8-9 team at best. But they've lost 7 of their last 9 games, so they need to turn it around. But Christian McCaffrey in and out of the lineup all season. He's now going to miss the rest of the season. Cam Newton, not an ideal starting quarterback in the NFL right now. He just isn't. And I think you nailed it, Jeff. They're a quarterback away from being a serious team. We all love the defense there. DJ Moore's a solid weapon at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. We like the running back core, but they're never healthy. Chuba Hubbard is an okay option, nothing special. They have a lot of holes to address in the offseason for the Carolina Panthers, quarterback being one of them. And you talk about a team that's maybe going to be willing to trade up big to get a quarterback. It could be the Carolina Panthers. Matt Rule, is he going to wait another year, 2 years to get his quarterback? Because you're only as good as your quarterback, guys. And if you don't have the quarterback and you don't believe in your quarterback, it's going to be tough to win football games. Look at the Detroit Lions. They can't win a game. Goff has never won a game without Sean McVay. It's absolutely embarrassing at this point. But you know that he's not the future, so you can kind of hold on to that. Having said that, in Carolina, it's like we have a good team. Our roster's nice. We like to coach. But we can't overcome bad quarterback play, and not many teams in the NFL can overcome bad quarterback play. Look at the Browns, perfect example. Sunday Night Football, they force 4 turnovers on Lamar Jackson, 4 interceptions, and they only put up 10 points. When your quarterback is playing bad, it's extremely difficult to overcome. And that's what the Panthers are running into this year. And whether or not they go make a trade for a quarterback, and free agency maybe, or, who knows the route they take. But whatever route they take, it needs to involve a quarterback because this is a 9, 10, 11-win team, possibly, with the quarterback.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I can't help but applaud the job Matt Rule's done. I think the record doesn't really speak fully to what he's done over there, especially, like you said, defensively. McCaffrey's only been in, even last season, what did we probably total in 6 games over the last 2 seasons. It's really sad. But they've, I like to say, turn chicken soup out of chicken, what. But Matt Rule, I think, like you said, next year they draft a quarterback. They draft the right guy, a Kenny Pickett, a Carson Strong. We talk about all these guys you're going to be able to take. Even if they trade up and take someone they really like, they'll be fine. So I'm excited to watch the Carolina Panthers over the next couple of years. It's going to be real interesting.
Last game I will have us hit on, boys. I do want to talk about the Browns and the struggle bus that they currently are on. Yep, there you go, Doug Pound. Took the L to the Ravens, 16-10.
Well, it would be easy. Listen, if you're going to talk about the Browns' loss, you got to mention Baker Mayfield. But as bad as I think Baker Mayfield is, the Browns' loss is on Kevin Stefanski as well. They completely went away from the run. We talk about this with the Colts. At least the Colts gave Jonathan Taylor 16 touches. Nick Chubb, 8 for 16. Kareem Hunt, 7 for 20. They completely abandoned the run. They gave the ball to Baker Mayfield, and there's your issue. You score 10 points. You went away from your identity as a football team. And listen, if you want to put the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands and have him throw 40 times, go ahead. He's about 18 for 37. That's his percentage, about half. And he almost had, I was watching the game. We talk about Lamar having 4 interceptions. Baker, they dropped probably 3. So, you know what? The Browns, they got to figure that out in terms of their offense because they're the best rushing team in the entire NFL. They lead the entire NFL in rushing yards per game, and they just completely went away from it. And Lamar Jackson, credit to that defense. 4 interceptions and your defense plays that hard. This is a Lions fantasy of a win, 16-10, and your quarterback throws 4 interceptions. That's how the Lions expect to win games. And credit to John Harbaugh, credit to Lamar Jackson. This is relentlessness, man. You win 16-10, got to win them how you can, and you beat a pretty good Browns team. A Browns team that defensively has been great. They forced. You saw. The 4 turnovers by Lamar Jackson, a couple of those. You could say it was a better play from the defense. So good win by the Ravens, though. Lamar Jackson, it's hard. You get a win, but you didn't play well. So the MVP conversations aren't. I mean, it's hard. It's a very tough year right now to decide this MVP.
There's no clear front runner for MVP.
No,
right
there's
now.
not.
There really isn't. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Ravens overcame a hell of a game. I mean, 4 interceptions from their quarterback. Defense looked great. The Ravens are what they are. They're well coached. They're disciplined. Even when they make mistakes, they don't shoot themselves in the foot and allow points off of turnovers. And Baker Mayfield is really bad. I think we can all agree on this. And I think it's time to Cleveland Browns. They have to move forward. You have to move forward in Cleveland, or you're wasting one of the most potent offensive lines and run games in the NFL, and you're wasting a damn good offensive-minded coach.
All right, you guys, since we are talking about all those great NFL games that happened over the weekend, I was in Ohio visiting family, but luckily with my bookie, you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. So set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit with promo code Woodward at MyBookie. That's promo code Woodward to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000, you guys. Make sure if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117. Again, that is the Michigan Gambling Hotline. All right, we will see you after the break and talk about Aidan Hutchinson.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
It's Adam, Jeff, and Kennedy. Mornings on the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. You guys, Aidan Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeaux, that is the choice the Lions could be faced with when they're on the clock with the number 1 pick come this April's NFL draft. So, boys, tell me, is Aidan Hutchinson the best player in college football? He currently sits at 54 tackles, 12 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Jeff?
Actually, Adam, I want you to take over this. You got to see this man in person. Absolutely have an historic performance. So give me your opinion on this, and then I'll add my 2 cents.
It was the single greatest edge performance I've ever witnessed live, and I've been to a lot of football games, collegiate and professional. But Aidan Hutchinson, I mean, I can only imagine as a viewer on TV how he just popped off the screen. 15 quarterback pressures, 3 sacks. He was blowing up every single play. He made C.J. Stroud so uncomfortable. Look, when you talk about taking somebody number 1 overall, you know, what does that do for your franchise? You're looking for a leader. You're looking for a guy that is not only going to deliver on the field, but off the field. And if I'm taking that into consideration, I got to lean towards Aidan Hutchinson. He looks like that guy. It reminds me of a T.J. Watt. You guys look at T.J. Watt. You redraft his draft class, he's going top 5.
Yeah, definitely.
And I see the same with Aidan Hutchinson, a guy that's going to get you 8-12 sacks a year. He's going to lead your team. He's going to be a captain. He's going to lead them on and off the field. This is the big step for the Detroit Lions. And, you know, whether or not they trade it back or they take Thibodeaux or Aidan, I don't want to say you can't go wrong with either, but my goodness, when you want to draft somebody number 1 overall and you want them to really embody your team and really take over and become a leader, I think Aidan fits that mold much more than Thibodeaux. Thibodeaux has disappeared in many games this year.
Yep.
Yes, he jumps off the screen. Yes, his talent is maybe untapped and his potential is through the roof. But Aidan Hutchinson looks like a guy that's stepping into my team tomorrow and is going to lead my team in sacks, lead my team in quarterback pressures, and set the tone for my defense. And I don't think you can make a mistake with going with Aidan.
No, absolutely not. I couldn't agree with you more. And the Kayvon Thibodeaux thing, not only does the health worry me, because as a Lions fan, I mean, I'm aware of guys getting drafted that are healthy. I mean, we have a couple here in Detroit. So, listen, Aidan Hutchinson, more healthy. he's going to be ready to play immediately. I mean, the guy in big moments, he seems like he plays better, and that's a player I want on the Lions. I mean, I don't want a guy, as much as I love project players to an extent. There's some guys like the Penei Sewells, we'll talk about Killian Hayes later. There's guys that you can develop. Aidan Hutchinson's going to come in day one, and like you said, to your point, be a leader. 8 to 12 sacks a season. I mean, he's a consistent contributor, and that's what you want. And I think if you're talking about the number 1 overall pick, you want a guy who's, like, to your point, all the points you just, but to add to that, ready to play right away and ready to make an impact right away. Aidan Hutchinson fits that mold for me. And Kayvon Thibodeau, I love that you brought this up, because this is kind of something that hasn't been brought up a whole lot. In big games, he does. He shrinks. And Aidan Hutchinson, it seems like Ohio State and Michigan State, excuse me. He had the almost touchdown versus Michigan State that essentially would have won them the damn game. And then Ohio State, historic performance. I mean, 15 pressures, to your point, 3 sacks, whatever it was. The guy is he's arguably the best player in college football on one of the best teams, if not the second best team. So, no doubt, he's in the consideration. I was a big Thibodeau fan early in the season. Obviously, that was the hype, that was the guy. But as the season progresses, things change, and you start to see performances like last Saturday, and you really start to wonder, who do we want number 1? And I know I made up my mind, and it's Aidan Hutchinson. Or if I got to trade back, do it. Whatever. If someone's in love with Thibodeau and you could trade to 2 or 3, I'm fine with it. Trade, get assets, and you still take Hutchinson. That's a win-win. So I got no problem. I mean, honestly, in this league, you need to be able to go after the quarterback. I mean, the Bosa brothers, the Watt brothers, like these guys, everybody that gets drafted. I mean, we're talking about Myles Garrett and all these things. Aidan Hutchinson, I'm excited to see him develop. I mean, I wouldn't even look at the point that he's from Michigan, because it is important, hometown kid. But aside from that, just his skill set is what I want. So welcome, Aidan Hutchinson. Hopefully you can come to Detroit. And I think if they do take him, that ain't going to be a pick they regret. So it's a win for the Lions if they decide to go that route. Definitely.
Yeah, I don't see how they go any other route. They're either taking an edge rusher, number 1 overall, or they're trading back. And that's the reality. Adam, would you give the number 1 overall pick to Seattle straight up for Russell Wilson with a new contract? God damn it. It's a great trade, but I don't think they would do it just for that. I think they would ask for that and maybe 3-4 more first-round picks. So that's a tough one. I don't think they're going to get rid of Pete Carroll before they get rid of Russell Wilson. I just don't see it happening. And honestly, why would Russell Wilson come to Detroit? To overcome a franchise that's never won a significant game in its lifetime, outside of the divisional round in 91, why would he try to take that burden? I mean, I don't think he willingly comes here. I'm not sure if he has a no-trade clause or how much power he has in his contract. Having said that, he's not coming to Detroit, and no serious quarterback is coming to Detroit via trade. It's just not going to happen. The team is in a clear rebuild. The head coach, you're scratching your head on, is this guy going to get the most out of me? Can I take him seriously? No real quarterback is going to come to Detroit. It's just not going to happen.
Unless they're forcefully traded here without their consent. Maybe, but no. Jared Goff didn't have a choice. He's in Detroit, so... I saw this. The Lions took Anza as a project player that didn't work out. Yeah, that's my point. Listen, just take a guy who's ready to play at this point. And I saw people making fun of as soon as this rookie contract runs out, he'll be 30 or 31. I mean, really, if we look at the whole projection in their ceiling, like Kayvon Thibodeau younger, but my God, I want a guy who's going to make an impact day one. And next year, I need impact players. We're supposed to win 6 games. We need guys. So give me Aidan Hutchinson. I want that man.
Yeah, I think the Lions are in a really good spot. I really love the capital they've acquired. You're going to take number 1 overall in edge rusher. You're going to have a linebacker or a wide receiver fall to you at 22 to 28, depends where you pick. And then in the second round, first pick, you're likely going defense, safety, or maybe even wide receiver if you pass on one in the first round. So there's so many options for the Lions. It's going to be a good offseason, but Jesus Christ, they got to win a damn football game. This is embarrassing.
I know. It's going to be interesting when later we get in the show. When will they win a game? Because that's a whole nother conversation in itself, right there. Trying to predict when this team will win a game.
I mean, the Lions are basically their season's obviously over, but I don't get this standard that's been set here. It's really frustrating. You got to increase expectations. Got to demand more of yourself, your coaches, your players. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, it's okay that we're 0-10-1. It's a rebuild. Like, no, there are teams with 3-4 wins that are in a clear rebuild, just like the Detroit Lions, and they don't have a quarterback.
Right.
And yeah, you shouldn't look around the league and compare yourself. But no, this is embarrassing. When you don't have a win 12 weeks in, it's really embarrassing. So there's no other way to describe what the Lions are right now. Hopefully this offseason they can address a lot of their holes. I'm excited to see how an edge rusher in Aaron Glenn's system does.
Adam, before we go to break, I want to ask you this. Obviously, earlier in the year, we were saying no to Aidan Hutchinson and yes to Thibodeau, saying that he's clearly got, the higher ceiling here. But if Brad Holmes and company does decide to go the Aidan Hutchinson route and it doesn't pan out, I mean, how much pressure exactly does this put on Holmes? And
when you bust on the number 1 overall pick, you're out of a job. Let me put it that way.
But
it's that simple.
Is it going to look like, he was giving in to all the noise made in the state about this guy?
Look, these guys do their due diligence. As dumb as some of the former GMs have been, as incompetent as the Lions have been for the longest time, look, they're doing their jobs. They're doing their due diligence. We've seen instances where an Ebron over Donald, even though the scouting team demanded Donald, but Jim Caldwell wanted Ebron. I mean, we've seen coaches step in and make bad decisions like the Jeff Okudah thing. I mean, it's normal. But having said that, you missed on the number 1 overall pick. You're out of a job in a year and a half.
Okay. All right, at that, we will go to break. Coming up next, Jeff kind of previewed it for you guys a little bit. When will the Lions win their first game, if ever? We will get to that coming up next. But first, our friends with the best defense at Guardian Alarm.
Yeah, the best defense. We talk about, my God, Guardian Alarm is trying to poison me. But anyway, Guardian Alarm, they get it. Good defense on and off the field. It helps you feel secure. And Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, even detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock your doors. Call this number, 800-STAY-OUT. You hear Fish over there in the background. That's 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years. 90 years at keeping families safe.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuffer Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuffer Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Meyer.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. We've got the Vikings this weekend at home, the Broncos away, Cardinals at home, Falcons away, Seahawks away, and we end the season with the Packers at home. So, Jeff, when are we going to see this first one? We've been asking this question for way too long, but when is it coming?
I think Adams probably knows this the best over the whole season. My confidence has, listen, first chance I said was against the Bears. The first time we played them, I said, listen, Justin Fields, rookie quarterback, it's a good opportunity for you guys. They took that L. And the next time I predicted it was against the Eagles, and they got obliterated. And then the next time I predicted a win was on Thanksgiving against the Bears again, and they lost in a very ugly fashion, a disgusting fashion, if you will. So, to be honest, the Lions shouldn't be favored in a single game this year. The question is, can they steal one? And can you steal one scoring 10, 13 points? That's the question. I mean, that's probably not. And this year, you have an extra game. You have a 17th game. And, I mean, who are you going to beat? You look around the league. I mean, you held the Browns to 13 points. You lost. You hold 3 other teams to below 20 points. You lost. The question is, what are you doing offensively? Defensively, they've been solid. That's not my worry. I don't know how long they'll be able to keep it up. That also is a worry. But offensively, they cannot get points on the board. And you're not going to win against anybody in the NFL if you can't do that, especially this week. You got Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, who offensively have been competitive in every single game they've played, over 20 points. And if you were watching any of the games this weekend, Turn on the Jets game versus the Texans. The Jets won 21-14. The Jets scored 21 points with a quarterback who was coming off of an injury, who still finds a way to throw interceptions, and they scored 21 points. So the Lions need to find a way to score more than their opponent. It's that simple. And maybe they will do that, maybe they won't. I don't think they will do that. It's hard for me to really say it. If I had to put my money where my mouth is and just say, like, where do I think they'll get a win? Maybe you can beat a banged-up Broncos team at home. Probably not. You have Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Probably won't win that game. Maybe if Matt Ryan throws interceptions all over the place, you might have a chance. Those are the only 2 games. That's it. And I'm not going to sit here the rest of the year and say I picked them to win a single game, but the hope is, the expectation is, they should. If you go winless this first year, it definitely, not only for Dan Campbell, but the entirety, everybody across the board, it's not a good look. Brad Holmes as well. So hopefully they can get one on the board. Adam, I want to hear your opinion. I'm curious. We both agree they aren't favored in any of the games, but let's just say you had to throw some money on a game. What game could they even steal? In your opinion, honestly.
Jesus, at this point, I think your best shot is going to be this weekend. Banged up, no Dalvin Cook, a banged up Minnesota team.
But they didn't have Dalvin last time, and we lost.
Well, even the Packers on January 9th, you're not looking forward to it. Even if they're resting, they're trying to get the number 1 seed and get a bye week. So they're likely not resting week 18. Away to Denver. Denver have been a very good team this year. Home to the Cardinals, good luck. Away to the Falcons. Falcons have looked just fine over the last few weeks.
Yep.
And away to Seattle, I think, is your best bet. On the road against maybe a team that by then I could maybe make the case that Russell Wilson is sitting for the rest of the year, and likely that Pete Carroll has been fired by that time. So that's where this is going. I think Seattle is your best bet. If I had to put money down, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions on the road against Seattle. But I think the most concerning stat of everything that I've seen is over their last 6 games, the Lions are averaging 12.66 points per game. Now, 13 points a game is disgusting. Isn't even going to do that record justice. It's so embarrassing. It's pitiful. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It's incoherent. It's incompetency. The Lions can't be averaging 13 points a game.
No.
They just can't. And when you average 13 points a game, you change play callers and you become worse on offense, you just show me that you don't know what in the hell you're doing. And look.
Right.
When Dan Campbell got hired, I sat up there and I said, look, I don't agree with it, but I'm going to root for him. I truly am. I want him to work. I want the city to have a freaking winner in Detroit. I want the Lions to deliver something of meaning to this fan base that suffered for so long. Having said that, Jesus Christ, Dan Campbell, man, it's pathetic at this point. He's the play caller now. I'm not sure what the hell Anthony Lynn is doing. He's probably out of town at the end of the year. What does Dan Campbell offer this Detroit Lions team on offense that Lynn wasn't? If I recall, under Lynn, the Lions were a team that would move the ball downfield, but they would struggle in the red zone. And with Dan Campbell, it's 3rd and 8, we're running the ball. 3rd and 12, we're running the ball.
3rd and 21,
we're running the ball. 4th and 1, we're going to throw the ball on 4th and 1. We're going to run it on long down situations, but on those short down situations, we're going to put the ball in Jared Goff's hands. It's mind-blowing to me, honestly. I am very frustrated for Detroit Lions fans. They can rip me all they want and tell me I don't like Dan Campbell, but the truth is I just don't believe in him. And I want him to be good, believe me. There's nothing better than the Detroit Lions being a good football team. It's some of the best memories of my life, and it's very few, far in between that I've had memories of the Detroit Lions being good. But that's the point, is this city, when Hockey Town is going, when the Pistons are good, when the Wings, when the Tigers are good, when Michigan Wolverines are good, the Sparties are good, when all the teams are good, it just makes it so much better. And the Lions, unfortunately, have been the odd man out and have never delivered any kind of substance or success. And, whether or not they win a game this year, we'll see. It's pretty embarrassing. But I'll let people, continue to defend Dan Campbell. I'm just going to say he looks like Hugh Jackson to me. And I think you move off him probably after year 2 and you go for a different coach. May I remind people, he not only cold called Sheila and lobbied for his job, he took a significant
That's true, by the way, right? The cold call?
Yeah, it is.
God,
yeah.
that is so. I still can't believe that, man. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, Jesus.
And
Christ.
there's that, and then there's what, what are you giving the football team that makes me confident in the future? And look, you guys can rip Matt Rule all you want. You can rip what's his name? God, I'm losing my mind right now.
Who?
Sean McDermott early on in Buffalo, he wasn't an instant success, but
Yep.
Look, you got to look at something. What do you offer me as a head coach that makes me believe in you? Even under Caldwell, he walked in. What did he do? He delivered 11-5, and that 11-5 year is what gave him the next 3 years of basically, we're not going to totally kill this guy, but I would love to interview Dan Campbell. I tried. They declined press passes for me. I wanted to go to a Detroit press conference. But I had
the Lions have major beef with this show.
Yeah, they don't like us at all. But whatever.
I think Jeff might be all right. They might take Jeff.
Well, at the same time, when Adam does say the things he says, I can't agree with him more. So it's like, who do you want in the press conference? Like,
what do you guys want me to say? Honestly,
I haven't even done anything.
He delivered the infamous kneecap, the kneecap speech. And then he put a helmet on his head. I believe the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And that's cool. It's great, because you didn't play a football game yet, and everything is okay. But look, man, when you start 0-10-1, I don't care what rebuild you're in. It's an embarrassing product. Teams that win 3-4 games, at least you're like, I saw how they can win in the future. So you know what? If we do this right, maybe in a year or two, we're going to have a good football team. But that's just never the case, and it's definitely not the case right now. Outside of Aaron Glenn, I'm not sure why the hell you would be excited as a Lions fan.
True.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, especially for the points you just named, like you're winless. It's hard for me, even if I wanted to defend Dan Campbell. It's very hard, especially last week on Thanksgiving. Like that's tough. That performance.
And that was on him. There was nothing.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think year 2 is going to be the time. Year 2, if he's wins 2 games next year, I think you pull the trigger. As much as I love Dan Campbell, I mean, it's a rebuild. We can all acknowledge that, but you have to show something. Something.
I know I come across as extremely mean and arrogant, and I don't want to call for somebody's job. First-time head coach, probably never get a job after this, but look, let's just see what happens over the next 18 months. And if it's a continued product that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, well, then you got to move on. It's really that simple. So I'll leave it at that, Kennedy.
All right, you guys, at that, we will go to break. Coming up next, we will do our college football playoff ranking predictions. You guys know those come out tonight at 7 p.m. But first, I need to tell you about Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck, the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Host your carpet party, team building event, or just come in with family and friends. Us at Woodward Sports, we will be there very shortly to do our corporate party. 2 ways to play: $10 unlimited open play, where you get to stay the whole time that they are open, or you can have a private lane reservation for $120 for up to 10 people for 2 hours. We have over 100 beers, our $2 mystery beer machine, and multiple full bars. You bring the food or have it delivered in. Come get your full on. Check it out at foalingwarehouse.com. All right, we will see you guys after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. All right, college football playoff ranking predictions. Adam and Jeff will give you them here in a second. You guys, who are your top 6 college football teams after that crazy Saturday that we witnessed? Jeff, let's start with you.
Well, this is tough. Number 6, we're starting at 6. I want to put, as much as I want to put Ohio State, they have 2 losses. It's hard. I'm going to throw Notre Dame at 6. Even though, you lose Brian Kelly, they're on a 7-game winning streak, and it's hard for me. I mean, Ohio State is as great as they look. I mean, defensively, they lost twice this year to 2 teams that have dominated on the ground against them, over 200, 300 yards. 2 bad losses. So I got Notre Dame at 6, 11-1. Not sure if I'm proud of it, but it is what it is. What about you, Adam?
I really contemplated between 3 teams, and that was Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Baylor. In light of the Brian Kelly news, I'm going to take Notre Dame, and I'm going to kick them out of the top 25 because I just don't like them, to be honest. I'm going to share my bias with you guys. So I'm going to have Ohio State at number 6. Look, they lost to arguably one of the best teams in college football. It was on the road. They have 2 losses, but at this point, I mean, you're picking hairs between these teams. I'm going to stick with Ohio State. I think if they play Notre Dame tomorrow, they win likely by 40.
Yeah, so they would.
That's what I'm going to do at 6. I'm going to keep Ohio State at 6. Number 5, I think we're both going to agree on this. It's got to be 100% surefire Cincinnati. I know you're going to probably say Oklahoma State because you're brainwashed. But Cincinnati, to me, should be in pole position at 5 and not in the top 4. Yeah. Cincinnati, for me, one of the weakest schedules in college football. Yes, they're undefeated, but look, you guys want me to give them credit. You want me to put them in the top 4. I'm not going to do it. This is a football team that will get in if Alabama loses to Georgia, and then I'm comfortable with them being in. But right now, with a 1-loss Oklahoma State, a 1-loss Bama, a potential 1-loss Georgia, and a potential 1-loss Michigan, they're not getting in over those teams. I have them at number 5.
No, honestly, I completely agree with you. I mean, if you look at Oklahoma State, the wins, they have bigger wins across the board than Cincinnati. That's why I had them at 5 as well. 5 as well. What about you at number? What are we at? 4 now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so
4. I'll give you guys my top 4. So
4 Oklahoma State for 4. Me.
I disagree for now. 4 is going to be Alabama. I think they've put in 2 really poor performances over the last 5-6 weeks. They don't look all that great, and I guess that's maybe a good thing for them. They're going to be, probably underdogs against Georgia. Having said that, for me, Bama's the number 4 team in the country. I'm going to have Oklahoma State over them at number 3. Number 2, it's obviously got to be Michigan after a big win at the Big House against Ohio State. And then, of course, I don't think anybody will ever disagree. Georgia at number 1, and they deserve every vote.
Yeah, undefeated. They deserve it more so. And you saw what they did against Georgia Tech last weekend. And I want to say Alabama, as much as, listen, they have an Oklahoma State. Alabama's had some skitty wins, some very close. They've just gotten by a lot of these teams, especially Auburn. I mean, they go 3 overtimes before finally getting that win. So, I mean, I'm not mad at you there. I just think it's kind of your point about Cincinnati, or you said Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. I believe if Alabama played Oklahoma State, I think they win just because of pure talent. I like Bryce Young as their quarterback, but I'm not mad at you. And in terms of just like their wins and what they've looked like in those wins and even losses, I mean, you're not wrong. So, I mean, Alabama at 4, I got them at 3. Michigan and Georgia, we agree completely. 1 and 2. I think that's everybody's consensus.
What do you want me to do with Ohio State and Notre Dame? I have Notre Dame out of the top 6. I have the Buckeyes at 6. Are you upset with me?
I mean, I'm not upset, I guess. My whole life sucks right now. I hope you guys know. I did my rankings on Hot Clock this morning, actually, that you guys can watch later on our Twitter page. Thank you, Fish. And I had Notre Dame at 6, Oklahoma State at 5, Cincy at 4, and then the same 3 as you. Or did you guys have Michigan at 2?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Then I had my top 3 were the same as your guys's. That's what I had personally.
I had Cincy out of the top 4. Sorry.
I know you did. I'm fine with that. I don't like them. I just felt like I had to do it. I think that's what the committee's going to do too. So.
I think the committee just feels bad, and they're probably going to have them in the top 4. If I'm going to tell you how tonight's going to go, I'll tell you exactly. Actually, they're going to have number 6 Notre Dame. Okay.
Yep.
Number 6 Notre Dame. Number 5, they're going to have Oklahoma State. Number 4, they're going to have Cincinnati. Number 3, Alabama. Number 2, Michigan. And number 1, Georgia. And on the off chance that Georgia loses to Alabama, then Michigan will go up to number 1, Alabama will be number 2, Georgia will fall to number 3, and Oklahoma State, with a Big 12 championship game, I think they will get over Cincinnati. But if Bama loses, Cincinnati's in. I can't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
Adam,
So to
you've
every
got
Cincinnati fan in the chat, I throw up middle fingers right now, but I'm not feeling well, so I'll leave it at that. Nobody likes Cincinnati. They're a soft program, and if it's a disaster and they do make the college football playoff, they'll probably lose by 50. It's going to be embarrassing.
They'll play if Cincinnati gets in at 4. Who does Michigan play immediately when they get to the playoff if they win against Iowa this
If
weekend?
Cincinnati gets in, that means Alabama had lost to Georgia, which means Cincinnati in at 4 likely means they play Georgia, and Michigan, if they win on Saturday, likely play Oklahoma State if they win. Now, if Baylor win and they beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game, well, I'm not putting a 2-loss Big 12 champion in, so that means I actually have to consider Notre Dame in at 4 and move Cincinnati up to 3. And I think, this is just a gut feeling of mine. I think the committee is dying. The committee is dying to have Michigan and Notre Dame in a matchup along with Cincinnati and Georgia. The ratings that game would get, I think, would be spectacular.
Well, I think how it's set right now, it's looking like Notre Dame would play Michigan State in the Fiesta Bowl, and people are saying that Brian Kelly left when he did because he didn't want the smoke from Mel Tucker, which is crap. He's not scared of Mel Tucker.
Yeah, Notre Dame should be scared of everybody. Nobody's scared of Notre Dame. Who cares about Notre Dame? Mel Tucker and Michigan State would win by 30 against Notre Dame.
Oh, my God.
Listen, I don't like Notre Dame. I don't know what you guys want from me. I don't like Notre Dame, although I respect, their program. I definitely don't respect Cincinnati as a program. I'm not even interested in discussing Cincinnati, and that's that. Sorry, I'm a Power 5 geek. I believe in dictatorships, as you guys very well know. So I believe the top conferences should get in, and I believe teams like Cincinnati, Boise State, these bums, I think until they start scheduling real teams, I'm not gonna take them seriously.
Adam, is there at least one thing, maybe one player, one unit of Cincinnati that you do enjoy and respect?
I like their secondary. I think their secondary is filled with potential NFL talent. Desmond Ridder has been turning the ball over a ton over the last few weeks, so I'm going to pass on him. I don't think he's a Deshaun Watson type player. And look, I'll give their secondary credit. I think they have a good secondary, although they've played pancakes all year. So,
and Adam,
tough to judge a team when they play. Tough to judge a team when they have a less difficult strength of schedule than Texas Christian.
Mm-hmm. You like to bring that part up.
The only guy out of Cincinnati I've been watching it all this year is Ahmad Gardner, just because he's from Detroit. And that's the secondary you're referring to. He's playing great. Yep. But other than that, it's it is what it is.
You guys, while we're talking,
I'd rather stick a fork down my throat than watch Cincinnati in a college football playoff game.
While we're talking college football, you guys, some other news that broke like midday yesterday. Spencer Rattler entering the NCAA transfer portal. Adam, do you know or think you know where that kid will end up?
I don't know exactly where he'll end up. What I will say is I think he's a trash quarterback.
Me too.
I think he's a bust. What happened at Oklahoma was no fluke. He was benched for a reason. His play was awful. It was a clear night and day difference between when Caleb Williams took over, who's a freshman, compared to Spencer Rattler. If I was to give a guess where he could go, I think a good fit for him would be under Brian Kelly at LSU. Because LSU is going to need a quarterback. I think he's still a good college quarterback. I don't think he translates to the pros. But you put him at LSU, wide receiver university itself, he could be explosive. LSU could be an explosive team next year. So if I were him, I'd consider LSU. I'd consider a Pac-12 team maybe. Definitely not USC, obviously, with the relationship with Lincoln Riley. Having said that, I think he needs to go to a conference or a team where he can put up historical numbers so he can kind of save his draft stock. Although I don't think NFL teams are
feed his ego a little bit.
What is
Jeff, I said he's got to feed his ego a little bit.
His ego, you call it ego, I call it just he's a trash person. Nobody likes Spencer Rattler.
No.
I wouldn't hand him the keys to my franchise. That's not what I'm looking for in a franchise quarterback, so I'm going to hard pass on Spencer Rattler.
What about you, Jeff?
Listen, I'm not a fan of Spencer Rattler. I mean, I liked his game. I watched a lot of him in high school coming out to Oklahoma when he committed, so I was a fan of him then. I know in college he had one great season. He had 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Ever since then, it just hasn't been the same. And to your point, Adam, I really do think, and that's a great point you brought up, collegiately he's great. I don't know if he'll translate. That's yet to be determined. But in terms of where he'll transfer, LSU's a great opportunity for him, like you just said. If he wants to go, especially, like you said, wide receiver university, big opportunity. Brian Kelly coming in. They need a quarterback, or they have a quarterback currently, but we'll see. Spencer Rattler comes in there. But, yeah, there's tons of opportunities. He's going to be wanted somewhere. He's better than a lot of low-end starting quarterbacks. But the problem is, where does he want to ultimately end up? And that's the NFL. So I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see. I'm still going to watch him.
I don't understand what's going on in our chat. Like, you guys think I'm negative towards a lot of things, but I'm not. Like, the reality is Spencer Rattler is a bum. Like, what do you want me to tell you? He's amazing? He's not. If he was amazing, he would have been the starting quarterback still at Oklahoma. I don't. I don't know how you guys expect me to sit up here and like compliment people who don't deserve compliments. Like, I'm supposed to compliment kneecap biter himself because he hasn't won a game yet in the NFL. Like, I don't get it. You guys want me to compliment people who don't deserve it? I compliment the Detroit Red Wings. I'll compliment the Detroit Tigers if they can make a few more signings. I compliment the Detroit Pistons on their ability to tank in the proper way where they're getting their young guys experience. Like, I'm all for giving credit, but excuse me.
Well, and I think when it comes to Spencer Rattler, you don't have to give any credit. When the entire fan base turns on you and wants you out of there, us sitting here in Detroit, we definitely don't have to back him up.
He's a piece of you-know-what. Nobody likes him. He's a horrible teammate. If you saw the documentary on Netflix,
horrendous.
Something about, Spotlight, whatever it is, like, he's a complete jackass. He really is. It's not who I want representing my franchise. The same way I don't want Baker Mayfield representing my franchise. This isn't, it's not a race thing. It's not a personal thing. It's just he's a scrub.
Yep.
He's a scrub, and I don't think he's going to work out in the NFL. I think he's probably a good college quarterback, and that's it. And then when you look at the Tigers, even for today, the Tigers likely closing on Javier Baez, and I guess we can talk about that a little later in the show. Yeah, we can talk about that a little later, but if the deal is just Baez, I personally am going to go with a pitchfork to Al Avila's house. Like, you can't promise big spending. Take the cheap deal, not get Correa, and not sign more players on top of Baez. Like, I think AJ Hinch will do just fine with Baez, although I think his character is kind of sketchy. Hopefully he turns it around, but that's it. It's plain and simple.
All right, you guys. At that, we've got Top 10 Tuesday coming up next. But first, Jeff, where you get your hair done?
All right, Lady Jane's, listen, great opportunity, especially, fellas, let's be honest, football season is upon us. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime because it's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. All right, it is time for Top 10 Tuesday. Jeff, let's start at number 10 with your NFL Power Rankings.
I have the Dallas Cowboys, 7-4, and they haven't looked great over the last couple weeks. They just haven't. I mean, they lost to Kansas City. They've lost to the Broncos. Ever since that Broncos loss, it seems like it's been a downhill roller coaster for this entire team. And now this Thursday, out Mike McCarthy. They have Dan Quinn, I believe, taking the point. So we'll see how that goes out. But, yeah, top 10 for me. I mean, these 9 teams in front of them, I believe, would beat them. So, no, you're at 10 for me, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't have the Dallas Cowboys in my top 10. I don't think they're deserving of it. I think they're a joke right now. They just don't look good right now. And a big part of that is because of the wide receiving core. Amari Cooper out, CeeDee Lamb out. It is difficult. Having said that, for now, they're going to be out of my top 10. I wouldn't be surprised if next Tuesday they're in it. Having said that, I got the Rams at 10. They've lost 3 straight. They haven't looked good. But when you lose to the best team in football, which the Green Bay Packers are, you know, I'm not going to make an excuse for you, but I'm not going to slaughter you. They were in my top 10 last week. I'm comfortable having them at number 10, but they're on a short leash now. And going forward, they need to start winning football games. So talking about winning football games, even though you're playing bad, the Baltimore Ravens for me at number 9. 4 interceptions from Lamar Jackson. That's a sign of a good team. When you play awful football and you still walk out with a win, that's a sign of a good, balanced football team, and they're well coached. So I got the Ravens at number 9.
Number 9 for me is the Los Angeles Rams. To your point, at 10, they haven't played well the last couple weeks, 7-4. Obviously, I think they'll turn it around, but their play has been bad considering the talent they have. I mean, Robert Woods is a big loss. We can all acknowledge that, but defensively, they haven't lost anybody, so no excuses for them. They're at 9 for me. So, what about 8 for you? I know we're probably going to disagree here. I'm not sure who you have.
Yeah, no, number 8, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I'm not going to slate them. Number 9, I had the Ravens. 8 Tennessee Titans. They lost, in my opinion, a top 5 team in the NFL in the New England Patriots. So it was on the road. They were missing some of their best players. A.J. Brown is out. Derrick Henry's still on injured reserve. I could see these teams playing each other in the wild card come playoff time, and I think Tennessee has a chance. So I'm going to keep Tennessee in my top 10.
Actually, I don't have Tennessee in my top 10, but and I respect you for having them. For 8, I have Kansas City. They have a bye week, obviously, last week, so I can't. It's hard to really fault them. They're 7-4. This is me putting them in my top 10, projecting them to play better over the next couple weeks. We'll see. They could easily slide right back out of the top 10, but 8, I have Kansas City Chiefs. I think they deserve to be at least higher than the Rams and the Cowboys, but at the same time, they ain't any better. They all have the same record, 7-4. So I got the Kansas City Chiefs at 8 for me. What about 7?
I'm okay with it. I'll take the Bengals at number 7. Big win.
Oh, that's
Big
me
win
too. We agree.
They blew them out. Number 7, good. I'm glad we agree at 7. For me, the Bengals they're starting to find their stride, and if they can just play more consistent football, if they can commit to the run more with Mixon, he's having a hell of a year. Mm-hmm. They have their blueprint. You don't need to make Burrow do everything. You don't need to make Chase do everything. So, take what's in front of you. And if you got to run the ball 25, 30 times, do it if it means winning football games. So I like Cincinnati's defense, love their run game. And, of course, you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins on the outside. So it's a great football team. I like it a lot. I got them at number 7.
Number 6 for me, and this was tough, and I think this will change, but I have the Buffalo Bills, and that's considering how they've looked lately. Josh Allen, I mean, they are the most complete team in football. I think I stick by that to this day, but the production hasn't really been there. They're 7-4 now. They're struggling a little bit. I think they'll go on a string of games. They'll start winning. This game against the New England Patriots is the matchup, my favorite game this week. So I cannot wait for it. It's going to tell us a whole lot about this division. But right now, I got the Bills at what are we at, 5? Or
you're at number 6 right now.
6, yeah. So Bills at 6 for me.
I've got the Chiefs at 6. I like the Chiefs a lot. Coming off a bye week, I'm going to put them at 6. I'm confident that Andy Reid, coming off a bye, is going to deliver a statement this week against the Los Angeles Chargers. Watch out. Oh, excuse me, they're not playing the Chargers. I don't know why I thought that. I believe the Chargers are playing I'm losing my mind. Chargers are playing the Bengals, actually. But regardless, Chiefs play the Broncos, I believe. So I think they bounce back. They win big. And I got to keep them at number 6. Number 5, this is where it gets interesting. For me, my top 5 is this. I got the Bills at 5. I believe in the roster, believe in Josh Allen, love the coaching. I'm not gonna cut bait with them. It's too early. Number 4, I've got the New England Patriots. I think one of the hottest teams in football right now.
Yep,
they look absolutely phenomenal. And don't forget, they're averaging 35 points per game on this win streak. So they don't look explosive, but they are. Number 3, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love the Buccaneers. Look, when you have Tom Brady, you're in my respect. So it's a default. They're going to be a top 5 team for the rest of the year, especially when they win football games. Number 2, a team coming off a bye week, the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think they're the best team in football. Not because they're missing something. It's just the Green Bay Packers are so much better than everybody else right now. So give me the Packers at number 1. Absolutely in love with Matt LaFleur. 9-0 now, coming off a loss since becoming Green Bay's head coach. I can't say enough superlatives about the guy.
And who do you have at 3? I just want to make sure, because if you have who I think you have, we have all 4.
I got the Buccaneers.
Okay,
at 3.
So we have the same exact top 4. The only thing is I have the Ravens in my top 5, which I'm going out on a limb. I'm going out on a limb. They're 8-3. They haven't looked great, but listen, it was really hard. It was either behind the Bengals for the loss they lost bad to the Bengals, or in front of the Bengals. And you know what? I got balls today, Adam. I'm putting them in front of the Bengals. I don't know how that'll work out for me next week, but we'll see. We'll see. But the top four, we agree. New England Patriots, they deserve to be up there. Like you said, 35 points a game. Mac Jones looks like a seasoned vet already. And, the other three, you can't argue. I think the Green Bay Packers, to your point, 9-3, they beat the Arizona Cardinals with all COVID all throughout. They missed Devonta Adams. They missed so many people. They're clearly the best team right now in football. And the 2 losses or 3 losses now, I ain't going to fault them. One of them was without Aaron Rodgers.
We talked about an MVP candidate and how there isn't a front runner. It could be Aaron Rodgers.
I mentioned that.
Convince me why he isn't the MVP.
I mentioned that like 5-6 weeks ago on the show when we talked about MVP. I said, don't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers sneaks his way in there. I think you looked at me, you're like, what? Okay, I don't think so. Storyline doesn't match up. Now it's match. Just because this year there's not a lot of competition. That's probably why it's kind of lining up right now. No quarterback right now is in the lead. Aaron Rodgers might be taking the lead. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be a big Aaron Rodgers supporter for the rest of the year in terms of MVP. If they finish with the 1 seed, unless the Bills win out, it's going to be tough for me not to give the MVP to Aaron Rodgers. So I'll leave it at that.
Definitely in the game he missed, they lost. So it's like he kind of got that going for him too. The one COVID game, they took an L. So you know what? They need him.
Look, I just think they're really well coached, man. The defense is playing with backups, and those backups are starting to look like starters. The Green Bay Packers just look really good. They're well coached. The A.J. Dillon find was phenomenal. Their run game looks legitimate. I can't say enough good things about the Green Bay Packers. You guys want to look what a good franchise looks like? What? A franchise that puts good players around their quarterback and a good head coach? That's what it looks like. That's the standard. And
100%.
If you want Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, instead of a situation where you have a young-minded head coach, Matt LaFleur, and a MVP caliber quarterback, I mean, that's you. But I don't think Lamar Jackson's in the MVP race, man. He just threw 4 picks on Sunday night. It was really pathetic.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's the MVP. I think the coaching staff is the MVP of the Baltimore Ravens. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's just, of the pack, I think he's just head and shoulders above everyone else. I really do.
Yeah, I like you, to your point. I mean, you throw 4 interceptions, you win because of your defense. It's hard for me to give him the MVP. I'm still going to ride with him. I'm not going to go back on my pick, but to your point, it ain't looking good. So we'll just leave it at that.
All right, I'm game for it. Kennedy, I have one question for you.
Okay.
Can somebody explain to me how who their coach of the year candidate is? I think I'm going to disagree with a lot of people. I'm sure Jeff thinks it's Cliff Kingsbury. Kennedy, I don't know who you think, but as much as I want to say Kingsbury, I kind of want to say Matt LaFleur and John Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's doing a hell of a job, and he's overcoming a ton in Baltimore, and it's hard for me not to, pass him up. If I had to give my top 3, I'd go LaFleur 1, Harbaugh 2, and Kingsbury 3. What do you guys think?
I'm not mad at that.
I like your top 3. Just I would disagree with the order. I would say Cliff, John, then Matt, just because of this. Matt LaFleur, as much as I'm a big fan of Matt LaFleur, I think it speaks. If you look at both Cliff Kingsbury and John Harbaugh this year, John Harbaugh, obviously you have the storyline, all the injuries you've suffered. You're 8-3. Cliff Kingsbury, this is a big breakout year for them. Matt LaFleur, 13-3. It's almost like we're used to seeing success from Matt LaFleur. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard. Like for Cliff Kingsbury, I think this year he deserves it. John Harbaugh. If Matt LaFleur wins it, I'm not gonna sit here and argue about it. But in my opinion, Coach of the Year, it kind of has a little bit of storyline as well. And I think, Cliff Kingsbury, John Harbaugh, they kind of steal that storyline for me. I mean, especially Kyler Murray missing 3 games with the injuries, and they go 2-1, whatever it was.
Ooh, I like the chat. The chat said Bill Belichick.
I was just gonna say that. Dang it, chat. Yeah, I think you guys are sleeping on
Bill.
Bill
Would be a sneaky one. I like that. I like Bill.
It's not sneaky. It's been when we talk about narrative, everyone was always saying, who came first, the Tom Brady or the Bill Belichick. And you know what? They are both. We can now confidently say they are both equally as important to the team. Bill Belichick's doing just fine by himself now. Tom Brady also doing well for himself. I think, especially this year, Mac Jones being on a tear, it's clear Bill Belichick is that dude.
Yeah, it's hard for me to argue with that, especially considering he has a rookie to deal with. I mean, he's got Mac Jones, and they're 8-4. So give him credit. I wouldn't be mad, honestly,
I think
if any
if
of
they
those
win
four.
the division, he should win Coach of the Year. But if they
Definitely.
finish just short and they're an 11-6 team,
Sean McDermott has a better record than you.
If they finish second in the division, I can't give it to Bill. But if they win the division, I'm going to give it to Bill over all the guys I mentioned, actually. Unless Matt LaFleur and the Packers, they finish 13-4 and they get the 1 seed. It's kind of tough to always pick against the 1 seed. Are the Cardinals going to collapse? We don't know what's going to happen there.
That's true. If they collapse, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm still sticking with Cliff Kingsbury, but yeah, I like the Belichick one. I actually I haven't heard that before today. So it makes perfect sense, though. I mean, no one really's talking about that.
Yeah. I think Dan Campbell could be doing. I think to Easy's point, LaFleur isn't doing anything amazing. The roster is just good. Yeah, I think Dan Campbell can go there and do just as great of a job. It's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't get it. Like, how are we not going to acknowledge that the guy's a really good coach in the NFL? Like,
Tony Pasta just said the Pats are doing well because of Patricia. Please chill out. I can't do this today.
Look, I don't get the LaFleur slander. I don't at all. Like, oh, he has Aaron Rodgers, so we can't give him credit. The dude is 9-0 after a loss. I believe his total record 13-3, 13-3, now 9-3. So that means he's 35-9 as a coach in the NFL. Back-to-back NFC Championship appearances. They weren't doing that before Matt LaFleur. I can't credit LaFleur, the former coordinator, for the brilliance on defense. Wow. Okay, that's fine.
Adam, do we give any clout to Brian Flores or no? 3rd season at the Dolphins, 4-game win streak. Tua's looking better. Do we give him any clout?
I don't even want to talk about Brian Flores. They're 5-7 right now. I like him as a coach, but they got some players on that side of the ball for sure. They're missing their 2 best players on defense, Jair Alexander and the linebacker, I forget his name. It's not like they're winning with their stud players. They're missing the best corner in the NFL and a top 5 linebacker. I don't get it at all. Like, Dan Campbell would 100% win with Rodgers. I mean, that's you don't get it. You don't get football, man. You really don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to be doing this during a live show. Excuse me.
Let's get back.
All right, you guys. At that, we will go to break, which means we have to hear from Fish and our friends over at Gypsy Vodka that he drinks so often.
I sure do. Gypsy Vodka. They have 50 different formulas, and we believe they have countless taste tests, and we believe that Gypsy is the best tasting and smoothest vodka ever. How do I know that? Because they have water. Everyone drinks water. Not just any water. They have artesian spring water. Ooh-wee. Gluten-free and corn distilled 6 times. Support the local brothers here from Michigan. Lovely state of Michigan. Try it out today. Ask for it by name. Gypsy Vodka. And always drink responsibly.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show, featured on the Roar, 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. We got to get into some Pistons talk. Thank God we have our boy Jeff here. Lots of people are questioning this guy, why he's getting the minutes that he does, questioning Dwayne Casey. Jeff, how important is Killian Hayes' development for the Pistons right now?
Well, it's super important, and every time you mention Killian, some Pistons fans, they want to mention Tyrese Halliburton, the guy who we potentially would have taken if we didn't take Killian Hayes. But, well, Troy Weaver and the Pistons, they knew what they were getting. They were getting essentially more of a project player. We talked about this earlier with project players. Very raw skill set. We knew Killian Hayes, 6'5". He's lengthy. He can defend. He can play make for his teammates. You saw all that in Europe when he played. More younger than Tyrese, more of an upside, at least from Troy Weaver's perspective. I'm willing to give Killian more time. The guy has only just played half of a season in the NBA, if you took up the totality of all of his games. And he's had many setbacks, injuries, and just trying to get comfortable with the NBA, the game itself. But what I fear with Killian Hayes is the Sekou Demboya effect. The drafting a guy who you believe, if he does hit that potential, he will be a great player. With Sekou, the difference between him and Sekou is Killian has more of a impactful skill set. At the very worst, if Killian doesn't become anything, you at least have a guy who can be a great perimeter defender, someone who can run your offense at times, and no question, Killian Hayes eventually should be able to average 13.6 assists. That's what you're looking at for Killian Hayes, someone who can get you somewhere in the teens in terms of points and get you about 6-7 assists. Right now, you're not seeing it. He's slowly starting to become more aggressive as the games go on, which is a good thing. But if you want the Pistons ultimately, if they want to end up where they want to end up, you need Killian to be there with you starting. Listen, the guy you're taking 7th overall, as much as I would love for him to be a spark off the bench, it's not what I want from Killian Hayes. Like, this guy's he should be a starter. He should be more of a consistent jump shooter, which he's working on it. He is. But to work with Cade, you got to be able to space the floor, because there's going to be times where Cade Cunningham takes over the ball handling duties. What does Killian Hayes do? He's going to be in the corner. He's going to be on the wings. He's going to be ready to spot up or just cut to the basket. But he's going to have to be able to knock down shots, which you're hoping he turns into the next couple of years. But I'm willing to give him time for Killian. I've thought about it. I've been watching a lot of these Pistons games, and the guy clearly isn't all the way there yet. And I'm willing to give him at least one more season to really sit back and evaluate him as a player. But it's too early. Although I'm not wowed by the things I'm seeing. I'm not angry at what I'm seeing. The guy has got a raw skill set that you can see when you turn on Pistons games. You just want him to be more aggressive, because I know how talented he is. And that's what really ticks me off as a Pistons fan when you watch these games and you know Killian can be doing so much more. But the jury's still out on him. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bust. I think he's got room to grow, which I ultimately think, Dwayne Casey being the head coach, he will get there. John Beilein, you got a great staff ready to develop these players, and hopefully he will turn into that. But Adam, I want to hear your opinion on it as well, but I'm willing to give him time.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice. He's a young prospect. Shooting 32% from the field, that's unacceptable. The only thing he really has going for him is that he kind of plays decent defense, and on top of that, he's a 92% free throw shooter. That's really all I can say good about Killian Hayes. It's not working for him right now, and whether you want to give him all of next year too and the year after that, when you draft somebody number 7 overall, you got to give him time, and he's got to get comfortable in his own body. He's got to get comfortable with the Dwayne Casey ran offense. He's playing with Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant. It's a lot of ball handlers. So I don't think it's the easiest situation for him. Having said that, I think he needs to step up. He really needs to show improvement this year. Right now he's averaging 5, 3.5, and 3.8 a game. It's okay, but he's got to be a 9, 10 point a night guy. That is how I see him being a good contributing factor to this team. 4 or 5 assists a game. Rebounds, yeah, they're cool, nice, and I just think that's it. Having said that, he hasn't shown what we've seen last year after he got injured. When he came back, he showed really good signs of oh wow, that I can get behind, and he hasn't done it this year so far. So just waiting for him to really improve, Jeff. That's really the main thing.
Yeah, and I see a comment. I want to address CJ. He says 37% from 3. Yes, in limited attempts, obviously. You want him to be more efficient, which I think he's been doing a great job this year. Spot-up shooting's definitely improved. What I'm saying is you want that. How many games are we in? 20? And he's shooting 37%. We'll see by the end of the season what he's shooting. That's what you want to look at. Because if you're taking a 20-game sample size and shooting percentages, it's all over the place. Cade Cunningham's shooting, 29, 30% from 3? You got to give these guys more time. I think Killian, for the rest of the season, I think he ends the season probably around 35, 36%, maybe even a little lower than that. You're hoping he gets closer to that 40%, but to your point, Adam, I think we agree. We probably, most Pistons fans, there's the couple that say, get him out of here, whatever, send him to the G League. But for the most part, you understand that this is the NBA, and you have to develop some of these guys. So I just think it's funny. People in the chat talking about his three-point percentage. I don't know, man. It is what it is.
Killian Hayes, he looks really bad for a guy you take number 7 overall. Having said that, you don't have a choice but to be patient with him. I don't see a scenario for the Pistons where they can't be patient. He needs to work out. When you take a guy number 7 overall, it needs to work. It just needs to work out. And I think more important than anything, the biggest thing for Killian Hayes this year is he's got to shine. He's got to find a role in this team. And if he's just going to be 5-4 and 4 a night, I mean, it's really bad. It's just really bad. What his ceiling is, I don't think anybody knows at this point. You're not sure who to compare him to. You're not sure what he could be. Could he be Lonzo Ball? Good defender, good passer, can hit the 3 occasionally. I mean, that's his best case scenario right now. He doesn't look good at all. So, Cade, clearly a hit. That looks good. Isaiah Stewart looks good. Sadiq Bey looks good. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see how this team operates, hopefully, when they get rid of Jeremy Grant. I'd like to see the ball in Killian Hayes' hands more. You just got to get them reps. And if they're not gonna show improvement, then you got to move on. It's that simple.
Yep, agreed.
Another Piston people have an issue with Frank Jackson. Jeff, talk to me a little bit about him.
Well, I think the problem in general with this Pistons team is people have a problem when you have young guys. You have Hamidou Diallo, a 2-guard who's solid, can get you 11 points a game if you give him minutes. And you're playing Frank Jackson, which I like Frank Jackson, but you have too many point guards, older point guards that are getting playing time. Corey Joseph shouldn't be playing. Frank Jackson shouldn't be playing. I mean, they can play. Frank Jackson's been playing great basketball over the last 10 games, but we're talking about you either pick one and go with one. I mean, you got 4 point guards essentially playing. Cade, Killian, Corey Joseph, Frank Jackson. That's going to kick off young Hamidou Diallo. It's going to kind of boost off the minutes of Josh Jackson. So you got to think about what players are you giving minutes over what other players. And I'm not a fan of giving veterans minutes, especially this year. Like, if you're going to suck, give it to Hamidou Diallo. Give him some value. That's a guy you might deal later in the season. So no one's trading for Corey Joseph, so there's no reason. And Frank right now, I know people say he's 24. He's a guard. I mean, he's not a point guard. He's a 2-guard. And over the last 10 games, he's played well. I did say that. But I don't see Frank Jackson. He's going to be probably a piece with this team. If I had to pick one, I'll take Frank Jackson over Corey Joseph. But you can't be playing both of them. I mean, it makes no sense. Especially when you have Josh Jackson, you have Hamidou Diallo, you have other guys I'd prefer in the lineup. So I'm not with it.
Yeah, look, I know people are frustrated with Killian Hayes, but you don't have a choice in the NBA but to be patient. Guys don't become star players or all-star players until year 4, year 5, year 6, who knows? Having said that, Killian hasn't earned his minutes. He doesn't look good at all. Can't shoot the ball. Gets to the free throw line occasionally, has a good percentage from the free throw line, but it's nothing special. I don't see it with Killian, and I think a lot of Pistons fans are starting to see that. And we'll see what happens moving forward. I think it's tricky times right now if you're a Killian Hayes supporter or if you're the Pistons. You need to figure out something. Garza is not a bust, and I'll tell you why. Garza is not a bust because you took him with one of the last picks in the second round. So you have zero expectations for him. So
100%.
None of these guys are bust. Killian's worked out. Last year, Troy Weaver had a great first round outside of, you could make the argument, Killian Hayes. So we'll see. Killian Hayes needs to develop. He needs to get better. And if he isn't going to get better, you got to get rid of him. It's that simple.
100%. And I see people talking about the whole guard thing. Like, we're not saying that they have too many. Like, listen, it's all about who are you playing. And the Pistons, they'll figure it out, I'm sure. But I just have a problem with choosing to play veterans, especially in this time. Frank Jackson, I don't have a problem playing him, but Corey Joseph, my God, we got to have a discussion about him. I think he's the
how many games are you willing to lose if you're Dwayne Casey? I mean, is he going to be in a job if they lose 50 games this year? 55 games?
It's tough to pitch, I mean, for anybody. I mean, if you're an organization that's turning the tide, you bring in Dwayne Casey, who right now with an organization that's hopefully trying to turn the tide, it's not working. Like, Dwayne Casey, I don't know. I think he's a great development coach, but I've seen him in Toronto. I've seen him with very successful teams, of course, but very talented teams. So, I don't know. We'll see. The jury's still out on Dwayne Casey as well. I think I'm willing to give him the season, and we'll kind of evaluate it from there. I think he needs more talent, but we'll see. At least he has a resume. That's all we talk about Dan Campbell. At least Dwayne Casey has a Coach of the Year. He's been to multiple Eastern Conference championships. Like, the guy has a resume, but who knows? Some coaches can't work with certain teams, and you never know. So the jury's still out.
All right, you guys, at that, we will go to break. Coming up next, we will be talking about the Big Ten Championship game. That will be happening this Saturday, so make sure you stick around for that. This is Woodward Sports.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuffer Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuffer Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Meyer.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. All right. Our next segment is our mailbag segment, so make sure you guys are thinking up questions to fire off at these guys for 9:50 if you are listening to the live show. But first, we've got to get into Michigan playing Iowa in the Big Ten Championship game Saturday. TJ Hawkinson has come out and said that he thinks that Iowa will win against Michigan. But, Jeff, your thoughts on this big game?
Well, this is it. This is everything Michigan fans and Jim Harbaugh, you guys have wanted. And you have an opportunity right now. TJ Hawkinson, listen, I honestly, I give him credit for being loyal, but I got Michigan winning this. It's all in their hands. They control their own destiny at this point. You're up against a 10-2, 15th-ranked Iowa team who just came back, almost took another ugly loss. Wisconsin obviously threw that game. But Iowa's here, and they're going to be ready to play. Michigan, I think, is going to be coming off so much emotion from this past weekend, that they're going to carry it in. I don't see a hangover. I just don't. And I talk about this all the time, especially this year in college football. Coming off big games, college teams play bad. And I don't think it's going to be like this with Michigan. I think the narrative is too strong with this team, and they know. Cade McNamara, talk about him all you want. The team across the board knows what they have at stake, and it's a chance to go to the playoff. And they got Iowa on their way. And you know what? You got to feel bad for Iowa because it happens. Sometimes you're going to get, collateral damage. That's what it's called. Iowa's in the way. They have, a mindset, and they want to get to the playoff. And I think this game this weekend is all about destiny, and it's the destiny for Michigan to be in that playoff, and I think they will. Iowa is, I don't know what if the line is going to come out this week. I'm interested to see what it is. I don't know if it's already out, but I got Michigan winning. But God, I cannot wait for this game. Michigan, the destiny's in their hands, Adam. We talk about this all the time. Go get it done. Go get it done, Jim. And I think you will.
A reality where he loses on Saturday, it's extremely hard for me to believe. I think Michigan will be prepared. I don't think Iowa will be able to stop the run, although they're good defensively. I just think it's one of those ugly games, 27-20. I just don't see Iowa putting up enough points against Michigan. Michigan's defense held Ohio State to 27 points. If you would have told me that, my goodness, I wouldn't have believed in you. And now you look at Iowa, I don't see Iowa scoring more than 21, 24 points, maybe at the most.
Yeah, offensively.
If they do that, I think Michigan has a really good chance. Excuse me, I am coughing up my lungs. I apologize. I'm trying my best here. But, look, this is a must-win. You got to get to the college football playoff. You got to win the Big Ten. This is program-changing if you can deliver on Saturday. You delivered against Ohio State. Congratulations. Having said that, you need to deliver now in the Big Ten title game. It's that simple. And Iowa's a very good football team. They really are. So it's going to be a tricky game. I'm excited for it. I'm going to try to make the trip out to go and watch it. Tickets are extremely expensive. So we'll see.
Got to make some bets, Adam. You'll be good. Just a couple little,
Yeah. Well, I made a huge bet on the Michigan game. and I was so nervous the whole time.
I told everybody about that.
God. Yeah, it basically paid out double, almost triple what I put in. So I was extremely happy.
Every time someone mentioned the Michigan game, I'm like, do you know my guy, my co-host, my co-worker, my guy, Adam, doubled his money in the Michigan game. Every time I tell the story, it's funny. Like, I don't think anybody actually understands the balls you have when you go to these games and you're like, you know what, throw $2,000 on Michigan. Like, and it's your winnings, of course, so it's not like it's coming straight out of your pocket. But it's still, man, I give you credit, and it worked out for you. So I wish you put your balls on the table like that and call a game. I mean, I picked Ohio State, but nonetheless, man, you put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is.
So you want to laugh? My cousin convinced me to make that bet.
Oh, really?
And,
Wasim?
Yeah, well, Wasim. So Wasim convinced me to make the bet, and we were going to the game, and everything was cool. And I completely forgot that I had bet on the game. So, Hassan Haskins had just scored his 5th touchdown. Everybody was celebrating. And then, he looks at me and he's like, we won. I'm like, yeah, I know we won. He's like, no, we won money. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. I forgot we bet.
Crazy.
And we were just celebrating up and down.
Wasim had to remind you won. Dude, I would have been on FanDuel right after the game. I would have been like, what the hell? But, Michigan, like we were saying before, I mean, this is such a big opportunity for them, man. I cannot wait. Everybody in the state of Michigan is going to be watching. State fans, whether you like it or not, everyone has to tune in. You got to see with Jim Harbaugh how they show up, and I think they will. I think they get the job done. Like you said, I think your point about Iowa, they're good for 21 points, 24 points. Maybe. If Michigan could just get north of that or play as good as they have defensively the last couple weeks, Iowa is screwed. So I cannot wait, man. Blake Corum, obviously, another game healthy. Hassan coming off a big game. I cannot wait. Well, we'll see. I think Cade McNamara looks good in this game because it's not as good as the defense.
We'll see. I mean, Michigan proved a lot of people wrong on Saturday. Not just the fact that they beat Ohio State, but they beat Ohio State by pounding the rock, and that's something they haven't been able to do under Jim Harbaugh. And, the McNamara apologist, he was 13 of 19, 140 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception.
He was a game manager.
Poor, awful, momentum-changing red zone interception at the time. And then Ohio State went down and scored. It was a brilliant defensive performance. The O-line deserves all the credit today. The running backs deserve all the credit. The defense, the coaches, they all deserve the credit. To bring up Cade McNamara after that win is just laughable. I don't get what people saw that made them like, oh wow, McNamara was so good. I didn't see it. I just didn't at all.
Can I ask you, did you get any DMs from people about the Cade McNamara thing after that game?
DMs,
Seriously?
I have about 40 mentions from over the weekend of people telling me I owe Cade McNamara an apology. And I was just laughing.
God. I can't believe it, man. I give you credit. I really do. For just saying that and then still coming out and having to deal with all this BS. Look at what Wasim said. We got to get you betting with us, Jeff. Hey, listen, my pockets don't run that deep, but if you could turn my $20 into $40, $50, I'm down with it. We'll do something. $2,000 though.
I love the low standards, Jeff. That's a great way to get in.
I know.
I want to transition real quick before we have to head to break. Bob's Big Boy brought up something really interesting actually on Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's the Big East title game. Houston ranked number 16 versus Cincinnati. I am hoping and praying Houston win. I don't want to see Cincinnati in. I'm tired of it. But, I shouldn't wish ill on others because maybe it'll bite me in the ass and then
Right. You root against Cincinnati so much, Iowa beats Michigan. No, I'm just joking. I'm not going to. Listen, if Cincinnati loses this week, I think we're going to have a great show Monday. Even better. It's going to be real interesting to have a discuss that.
What? If Michigan win on Saturday, I will record a 2-3 minute video of me dancing for joy. And I would be so ecstatic. But they got to do it.
Hold on. Are we starting to see a little bit of that Michigan fan come out of Adam? I think over the last couple of weeks, I know you say you're neutral, but I know you went to the Michigan game. You had a great experience. Are you converted? Adam?
It's not that I'm converted. Look, I like to consider myself neutral because the job I do requires me to be fair to both teams.
Right.
And although I favor Michigan more than Michigan State, clearly, that doesn't mean I can't deliver fair criticism and praise for both teams. And I've been very fair to Michigan State. If you kind of watch back the whole year, I would look like a Michigan State fan, to be honest. But I just think, you got to be fair in this industry. You got to say the truth, even if people don't like it, and it's that simple.
Yeah, you're still high on Kenneth Walker, so it's not like you're biased. Never that. I mean,
and he's my Heisman winner. I mean, I just don't get it. Like, jokes aside, like, I don't get how people are dismissing him for the Heisman when he was the lead back and front runner for almost 10 weeks. He delivered in the biggest moment of the season against Michigan. He followed up with a decent performance against Purdue. I'll blame coaching on that loss. He played well. And then Ohio State, he got injured. Like, I don't get it. I really don't.
No, I mean, it's hard to argue in terms of production. Like, Kenneth Walker, clearly, he's had, if not one of the best seasons in just college football in general. But to my point about the Bryce Young thing, I think...
If I told you, forget the school, Jeff. If I told you that there was a transfer running back who would run for damn near 2,000 yards, almost 20 touchdowns, et cetera, have better numbers than Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry, and he took his team from a 2-5 season to a 10-2 season. Like, how wouldn't he be a Heisman hopeful?
No, he's definitely in there. Like, he's top 2. I top 1 probably in your opinion. I just we got to argue at him. I'm still picking Bryce Young. We'll see. If Kenneth Walker wins, I'm going to sit up here and applaud him. I mean, the guy's had a tremendous season. I agree with you. He deservedly so.
I'm going to my grave
we'll
that
see.
Kenneth Walker should be the Heisman winner this year. He's earned it. He's deserved it.
Write it on the tombstone.
We have 3 minutes before we got to head to break, so I'll change real quickly. I'll answer another question from Bob. Any commentary on Stafford's slide in LA? 3 straight losses, all with a pick 6.
And then Easy's response: Stafford going to Stafford.
Look good right now. Yeah, he just doesn't look good. And people say, Stafford going to Stafford, and they're, they're totally right to say that. He's played really bad, and how much has Robert Woods affected him with him being out? I don't know, but I know they had a bye week going into Green Bay, and they didn't show up. I know the score looked friendlier than it was, but it wasn't a close game. Green Bay was in control the entire game. Stafford, the pick 6s are inexcusable. You can't do it. Yeah, the Higbee one the other week, I guess you can give him a pass on it, but you can't do it. You can't put your team in a position where you're putting them behind the 8 ball to start. It's just unacceptable. He's not playing well. And you got to look at Sean McVay and Stafford over the next few weeks, and you got to say, hey, we're expecting something out of you. You made this deal. You gave away 2 first-round picks. You gave away the quarterback. What are you going to do to fix all this? And if they can't turn it around, it could cost McVay and Les Snead their jobs. So they got to figure it out quicker, sooner than later.
Yeah, I think if they play Arizona one more time, correct? I think they do when Kyler Murray will be back. I'm pretty sure. So he's still got an opportunity.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is questionable, but they said he's hopeful. But just the Rams in general, they look awful on defense.
Oh, defensively,
Morris isn't doing all that great. The offense isn't running the ball like they were earlier on. I don't get it. But people are talking about the Baez deal in the chat. $140 million for 6 years. It's actually a good deal.
Yeah,
it's a bargain. And as long as they make more moves and they sign at least one more good player, I think the Detroit Tigers are going to be competing for the AL Central pennant. I really do. And that was before any signings. I really believe in A.J. Hinch. I think he's the best manager in the game of baseball. And it's going to show this year. With Baez and hopefully one more good bat, you're probably going to call up Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. It's going to be a squad. Tigers are going to be fun to watch this year, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, even if you're if you don't watch a lot of baseball, you look around the Detroit, all the franchises, and clearly the Lions, and people still show up and tune in every single week. It's a football city, even though we haven't had any success. But yeah, the Detroit Tigers, you got to be excited. I mean, the Carlos Correa thing is frustrating to a lot of people that it hasn't gotten done, but like you said before, I mean, it's a steal of a deal. And you look at all the moves they've made, and hopefully they'll continue to make. It should be an exciting season, definitely. And more exciting than, you got probably more exciting, I think, than the Pistons this year. I think it's probably the Red Wings and the Tigers who you're looking forward to this year. And you got the Pistons developing, you got the Lions developing. But it's going to be an exciting year, man. If you're a baseball fan in general or just a Tigers fan, you should look forward to it. So it's going to be great.
All right, you guys, up next, we've got our mailbag segment, so make sure you are spamming the chat with all of your questions that you have for us, and we will answer them and get to you right after the break. This is Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. Make sure you get your questions in for our mailbag segment we've got here. Lots of comments happening about the Tigers signing. A lot of people upset about no Carrera. Obviously, we just picked up a different shortstop. Okay, we've got some questions. Questions for Adam. Here you go, Adam. What is your best Lebanese dish for the holidays? I love this question.
Best Lebanese dish, I have to say, would be grape leaves. Whether it's vegetarian or meat, they're absolutely delicious. You'll never get tired of them, and they basically go well with any kind of dinner that you make. So I'll go with grape leaves.
True. All right. From AC, thoughts on MSU getting another running back through the transfer portal? Jalen Berger from Wisconsin, #mailbag.
Yeah, it's a good move. Tuck is going to do just fine. Recruiting and in the transfer portal, I expect a ton from him. I think he's going to be fine. Kenneth Walker likely goes in the draft. We'll see. It's early for Michigan State, but I think the expectation next year is, hey, let's win 8-9 games. If we do that, great. And if we put together a championship run like Michigan has had, well, that's a great season.
I like this question. Who do you think will see coaching the Pistons if Dwayne Casey doesn't work out? He says, I like Mark Jackson. Which Mark Jackson, I mean, we talk about him all the time.
Fish, turn on his mic, damn it.
Oh. Fish, go run and turn the mic. We're good? All right, we're straight.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry. I got Fish.
Fish is in your seat right now.
Can we show Fish?
Show Fish.
I told Fish to come up here. We're going to address the chat together. All right, so we got Fish up here. I love it. So we got Fish up here now. So Fish, how you doing? I know you're getting the headphones all worked out. But we'll talk about the Michigan State thing real quick because I wanted to address it as well. Jalen Berger, guy out of Wisconsin, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, great running back, and now potentially you got your Kenneth Walker replacement for next year. So if you're I saw K9 to the Ravens. Oh God, that would be interesting actually. K9 to the Ravens. I would love K9. I just want to see this man in the NFL. I don't care where it is. Does Cade McNamara transfer after this year? That's a great one.
Oh, I love this question.
I think he does.
I think he does, and I think he has no choice. Look, the future is bright at Michigan. You're playing in your first Big Ten title game ever. Now is not the time to rest on your laurels, let alone not get better at the most important position, which is quarterback. You're going to lose a big part of your defense, which means you're not going to be able to win ball games by, a defensive performance, especially earlier on in the year when the schedule's a little easier, let alone on the road next year in Columbus. You're going to need offensive firepower, and Cade McNamara doesn't deliver that. This year they got away with it because the defense is just phenomenal. Mike McDonald, credit to him. Aidan Hutchinson, the best defensive player in college football. Ojabo, just as good, if not, at least near the level of Aidan Hutchinson in terms of edge rushing. He's phenomenal. And a good edge rush, compensates for a bad secondary, and we've seen Michigan State get exposed by that. So I think they got to go big or go home next year, and that's going to be JJ. You got to go all in. I make the comparison all the time. Dabo Swinney, 7 years in, to Jim Harbaugh. Very similar records. What happened after? Dabo Swinney got Deshaun Watson and then Trevor Lawrence. It's time Harbaugh gets it right at quarterback. And if he can get it right at quarterback, you're in business. You're in business.
I got a question for Fish. Fish, would you be interested one day do an Adam mask and do an impersonation of an Adam golf rant?
I say he just does it.
I think if you could do an Adam rant in his chair any day of the week, Fish, I'd be here for it.
Fish, can you just give us a Lions Super Bowl in Adam's accent real fast?
Lions gonna win the Super Bowl. They're so darn good. 10-7. Yeehaw!
Give us some.
Oh, I love
Well
that.
done. Well done, Fish.
He just needs
You're making him coffees laughing.
He just
too
needs
hard.
the mustache.
Yeah.
We'll get there, Fish.
Fish, I expect a Magnum PI mustache in the next few weeks.
Fish, we could just buy it from the dollar store. If anything, we'll just slap it on there. I think it'd be hilarious. But look at, I cannot help but see Fish, his legs dangling from the chair. I just love it, man. This guy's chilling, and I couldn't be happier. We should get Fish his own chair, specifically in the middle, and he can be like the, when me and Adam start getting loud, Fish, you can chime in and you can calm us down. Is that okay?
I mean, I can just do it from the booth as well.
But I don't see you in the booth, Fish.
There you go, Fish. Tell him. Be efficient. Don't listen to
You guys
this
will be
guy.
fine.
He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Just maybe if Adam says some mean stuff, you can just kind of get on him with me a little bit. We can just kind of like antagonize him. Does that sound good? All right.
Sure. Sounds great.
All right.
All right. AC says, does Jim bench Cade for JJ after everything he's done for the team? What message does that send to the rest of the Michigan team?
The message is sent to the team is that if we don't win the title game this year, which would be a disaster, we gotta win. You gotta win big. And if you're gonna play a Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma State, you're gonna have to put up points. And if you're gonna rely on Hassan Haskins to get all your touchdowns and all your yards, it's extremely difficult. It worked against Ohio State. It's not gonna work against these teams consistently. And that's why you need a quarterback. And I think the message it sends is, hey, we're trying to improve. We're trying to get better. Cade was really good for us last year. But it's time for the freshman to take over. I'm sorry. It's his team. It's his job to lose. And I think J.J. McCarthy offers something different. I think he's more dynamic. And I think the offense next year will be much more explosive. Donovan Edwards will probably be the feature back. That's going to be great to watch. I think they can really replicate a lot of the success from this year next year. The question is, who's the quarterback, and can the defense recover from losing X amount of players to the NFL?
Yeah, I don't think it would send a negative message. I think, like you were saying before, it depends. Jim Harbaugh is self-aware, and he understands, this is the future of the program. This is why you recruited J.J. McCarthy. And Cade McNamara, I think he's also self-aware, and he already knows. The fact that the transfer questions coming up before the season's even over answers the question itself, that many people probably expect him to transfer as well. So it's not a crazy coach. Thoughts on USC?
Cade McNamara is definitely not Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence. That we know for sure.
Definitely.
With J.J. McCarthy, you don't know. He has an untapped ceiling of potential. And do you really want to risk him transferring and becoming a star player somewhere else? I don't think you can do that. I really don't.
I like this. Thoughts on USC coach? You see Caleb Williams leaving OU. I actually was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about OU. I could see Caleb Williams and those guys trying and get to USC now with Lincoln Riley. Let's talk about Spencer Rattler, how that relationship's over. The Caleb Williams one seemed like it was just beginning. What do you think the chances on that are? You see Caleb Williams saying, "I'm out," and going to USC.
Yeah, he's probably going to lose out. I don't know. I don't see him staying at Oklahoma, especially going to the SEC for the first year, new head coach. Caleb likely transfers where, I really don't know. Could be to SC, who knows? But it's too early right now.
A question for Fish. Did Lewandowski get robbed of the Ballon d'Or, or what does that even mean?
The Ballon d'Or was yesterday. I was watching
Fish
a
knows,
different
that's all that
game,
matters.
but I did see the Messi one. I don't necessarily think he got robbed. I think it was, everyone figured Messi was going to win.
Who's Lewandowski?
He's from Poland. He plays on Bayern Munich.
Dang, I gotta watch some football.
I love it.
You thought Messi was gonna win. I like seeing them sitting next to each other. Ronaldo, he thought he got robbed. Not shocking.
Well, yeah, that's usually what happens. You take that L, Fish, you think you get robbed. But that's funny. I had to ask you.
Fish, we got to ask you Easy's question, too. He says, Fish, will the Lions get a win this year, and against who?
Yeah, we didn't hear your prediction. Who are they winning against, Fish?
Yeah, we suck.
Let's hear it.
Well, I honestly think they can beat the Packers, especially if they clinch the first spot, because they're going to rest half their people. So if they rest half their people and the Lions don't win that game, oh, boy, Dan Campbell, stay out! But...
Fish is calling for the man's job.
Well,
that's great.
You called 2 timeouts in a row and you don't know the rule. I don't know why you can't be coaching on the job. If you get hired to be a coach, you should know what you're doing instead of say, "Hey, Aaron Glenn,
You fucking tell him,
Time
bitch.
out. Like,
You
that's
tell
not-
him.
You're not supposed to
Hey,
be doing
Fish,
that.
make sure you text Justin that F word at the last minute of the show, you dum-dum.
Adam, I swear it's the chair, man. That chair, as soon as you sit in that chair.
inspires the greatest takes in the state of Michigan. You understand me? Bitch, you preach nothing but facts. I am so proud of you, buddy.
So, Fish, our first win of the season is coming in our very last game.
I mean, that's going to be the most.
kinda fabulous.
That's going to be the most winnable game. Technically.
What about on the road? Falcons and Broncos. You're like, no, they're losing to the Broncos and Falcons.
No, Falcons and Broncos will probably be close.
Okay.
But I don't think they will win that game. But
So you heard it here first. Fish win versus the Packers end of the season. And if
All
he's
right.
right, I swear to God, we're revisiting this. We're clipping this.
Oh, yeah, we're clipping it. All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. We got to get out of here. Up next, we've got Big D Energy with Joyke Bell, Neil Rule, and D-Mac. We will see you guys back here tomorrow. This is Woodward Sports.